Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Dungeons & Dragons, A Darkened Wish. Never fear quarrels, but seek hazardous adventures. Apparently, I cannot say the word hazardous. So that is, never fear quarrels, but seek hazardous adventures. Let's meet our heroes, and I'm going to go in the order you all are on my screen. Aki.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aki, and I play Kerrin and Karrin, our cleric elven twins.
Alcuin Gersh.
Hey, I'm Malcolm Gersh, and I'm playing Rayonde, the Dragonborn Paladin. Sorry, not Paladin, Monk. I forgot what show it was on for a moment.
He's like a paladin in here, though. Like, he's got the
He is.
heart of a
That's what it
paladin.
is. I think inside he's got some Paladin vibes.
Yeah, exactly. But out here, he's got monk fists. Yes. Sam.
I'm Sam DeLove, and I'm playing your swashbuckling rogue, Aiden.
And last but certainly not least, May.
Hi, I'm Mayleigh Damage, and I am playing Helene, your friendly neighborhood wizard.
Fireball.
As of the fireball. I fireballed him. As of the time of this recording, D'Artagnan had to be away this week, but he's away for something good. So I'm sure he will be back to join us shortly. Also, it's funny because, I created these characters as the co-creator of Dungeons & Dragons and Darkened Wish, and I'm thinking back to Rayonde, and I don't know why I didn't make Rayonde a paladin, to tell you the truth. I think just the visual of a monk dragonborn seemed dope. I need to go back, check my own notes, and see why I did what I did, because I'm sure there was a
and
reason.
then you let me make him a samurai, which is...
I did let you make him a samurai. That is actually true. All of those characters, there were modifications to them based on what this cast asked for, because I knew this was the cast I wanted when we was still writing the comics. So that is true. He is a Kinsei, thanks to you. Yeah. Again, as always, as independent content creators, we rely on the generosity of viewers like you, both in the form of bits and tips, but also in the form of supporting our sponsors that make this show possible. First and foremost, thank you to Q Times for having us and allowing us to, do what we do here physically in the studio, even though you're watching us on D&D. Q Times is making this possible. So make sure you check out their stuff. They're doing dope things almost every day of the week, and you can see a lot of us there when you're not seeing us here. D&D Beyond. Of course, D&D Beyond is the official digital tool set of Dungeons & Dragons. Now they have everything you need, almost everything you need. Right? They're really close now that they got dice, they got initiative trackers, they got the books, they got character sheets. It's all fully interactive. D&D Beyond is my favorite digital tool set, my favorite tool set, period. I kind of enjoyed more than even reading the hard dice now. And of course, you have access to all the books there. Therios, Wildmount, when the Rime of the Frost Maiden comes out, it will be available on D&D Beyond even before the hard copies come out. Dogmite Games, even though I do not have my super deluxe DM screen in front of me here, she sleeps waiting for me to return to the studio. They're the maker of kick-ass gaming gear for all your tabletop needs. You got to check it out. Everything. They have customizable screens, so you can have anything that you want. I use my D&D and Vampire screen from them. Level Up Dice. I'm partnering with Level Up Dice. They bring luxury gaming goods for all manner of gaming persuasions. Mine are still in the bag there. I will pull them out to show them to you. But you could visit with my link, which is bit.ly/LUD B Dave Walters. And last but certainly not least, Games for Love, which is a 501c3 kindness-oriented charity aimed at easing the suffering of children. Right now, in the midst of the COVID pandemic, again, immune-compromised children are actually more susceptible and have had to go into heavy quarantine, which has been difficult for a lot of them to deal with. So we're always raising money to buy Switches so they can be playing Animal Crossing, consoles, and things like that to make them feel a little more connected. Every $10 raised directly impacts the lives of 2 children. You can find out more at gamesforlove.org. And with that being said, now on with our story. A few days have passed since your encounter with the strange planes traveling. Um, I was going to say adventurer, but we'll call Averin a planes traveling visitor. In his heroic, dare I say, handsome as well, associate Freely appeared outside of the gates of Waterdeep, and you all actually managed to take a short trip to what might have been another planet, another plane. Who can say? But in the days since, after that strange red storm and earthquake, everything seems to have been quiet. Um, Although soon after you returned, uh, Xander was called upon for a secret mission back to the Moonshay Isles. All of you were supposed to redeploy south to give a ride to the legendary wizard Shandir down to Baldur's Gate and then detour back to your home in the Moonshay Isles. But the recent chaos between the battle with the Illithids, these odd natural disasters, and a few other things has kept your ship moored here at Waterdeep longer than anyone expected. Again, you all are still receiving the hero's welcome that you have as word of your events and heroics in defense of the city have spread. And again, it has been quite some days since any of you have paid for a drink or a meal anytime that you depart the vessel. People bring their kids up to you and let them meet you. And it outside of the existential dread of being a mercenary, it has not been a difficult time. And it is on one such day that you all find yourself in the yawning portal, home of the same yawning portal that Helene so directly flung herself down. Just in the grand scheme of things, which was maybe a week ago, it feels like it was a month, possibly years ago, but it really wasn't so long ago. We'll call it 2 weeks. Now you all sit raising a cup together and enjoying what, at least on the surface, it appears to be a much needed day of shore leave.
All of us are sat such that we interdict her from going anywhere near that portal, just body blocking. Just we don't have to make a thing of it. It's just if she wants to hop down in there, she has to go through all of us.
If we can break her eye line, if she can't see it, then maybe she won't
Exactly.
be tempted, is what I was thinking.
Exactly.
You do know every time someone comes in and pays Dernan to go, he does very warily eye Helene as he's taking the money.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I don't know what any of you are worried about. Me? Jump down there? I would never.
Except that one time that you did that.
And I book it
You-
towards the portal.
When you book it towards the portal, literally everyone in the place jumps up like a flash mob, like they've all rehearsed this. Like, wait.
You guys are getting faster this time. Well done. It was a test.
Although a young halfling walks up to you, at least he looks young. They always have a sort of fresh facedness about them, but you can see in his eyes, Helene, that he's not quite seen some of the things that you know he's going to. And he comes up to you and he's like, "Oh, you're Helene. Your hair's even more magnificent than we were told."
Oh, thank you. Watch out, it'll burn you.
S-
Just kidding. I'm playing with you. It won't.
I was just wondering, would you be willing to bless my blades? And he does pull two daggers and sort of hands them out to you, hilt first. It's like, it was your bravery that ultimately led to the delivery of Waterdeep. Please.
Sure. And Helene will close her eyes and she will think of all of the ancient spirits and the elder gods and kind of meditate over them for a minute. She'll be like, I think that works. May
He
they
just sort of
bring you strength and courage.
he just sort of looks at him for a second and he's like, oh, I can feel it. Yeah, I can feel it. And when he says that, you notice several of the kind of adventurers that had sort of jumped up and looked do all kind of just start unsheathing weapons and like putting them down in front of you, like, oh, me too. Yeah, all right, I like it. It's. I was gonna ask for a lock of your hair.
Karen, Karrin, they're stepping up on that clerical turf there.
It's fine, really. If they asked us, then they'd probably just get bored. Because we would actually do a prayer, a long one. They're usually pretty long at home. Um, and besides, she's having a good time.
I'm a little frightened at this point. There's a lot of them. A lot of people holding weapons.
Dernan just says, all right, give the lady her room, but maybe you could just say a couple of words over these brave adventurers.
May your blades be strong and your cannonballs be plentiful.
They all sort of like stop and look at each other for a second. And then they're like, ah, yeah. And you see the priestess of Tamora that was here when you all came in originally, does just sort of like kind of stand there with her hands together. And she's like, very much trying to get you all's attention. While everybody else are drinks all around, and you do see a few adventurers that had paid the price go down. You all, in the time that you've spent here, because again, the yawning portal is an iconic watering hole in Waterdeep. You do know that if you sit here, prime time, 1 to 3 adventuring parties come out. You said say 1 to 3 an hour, but you see only about one comes back about every 3 hours or so, but they are managing to plunge deeper than they did before because you all cleared out quite a bit, forcing your way down there. The creatures fall back in, but it's another reason people have been happy because they've been able to get down there and map more thanks to you guys. But you're also starting to find out a couple of people, especially to you, Aiden, have pretty much tipped you off to the fact that it's like, there is a quicker way to Skullport type thing. It's like, at that one intersection where you can go left or right, you actually go straight. You kind of climb that rock and you go up and over, and like they
Never
show you
would
the
have thought to do
non-murdery.
it, but appreciate the tip. Thanks very much.
But yes, you, Karrin and Kerrin especially, do see this young priestess sort of like trying to get your attention, like,
Hey, everyone. Looks like we have somebody trying to get our attention.
Yeah, I'm getting that from
Yep,
the
yep.
body
You
language.
have a bit of a
I
vibe.
think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm picking up on that. It's
Let's head that way.
Yeah, maybe we should go and talk to her.
when all of you turn and look her way, she goes from like this thing, and when you all looked, very much like hashtag act natural, like very much like leans on the bar, like and like picks up a drink like she's about to drink it, and then remembers she's a priestess and puts it back down and sort of like smooths out her robe a little more.
Very cool. Very
smooth.
chill.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
smooth.
I think the twins will head over kind of first. They'll be the vanguard of this party.
All right.
Can we help you?
Blessings of Tamora upon you. I don't know if you recall, my name is Alaria. You all helped me when you first arrived.
Of course, Alaria. Blessings upon you as well.
I must admit, I had greatly underestimated the wisdom of such a young and beautiful group of adventurers. I thought you all were out of your league. I didn't even think you'd go through until that Helene just, whew, I think she took a month off my life when she just jumped down that hole. Just,
You
whew.
are not the only one.
Would it be terrible of me to ask for a favor of you? I know you are mercenaries, and I do not have a lot of coin, and you also were heroes, and there are many far more deserving than I, but I would be remiss if I didn't speak up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna tell us anyway, so let's get on with it.
I think
Hey,
Karrin kind of elbows Rayonde. Be nice.
She
This is
sort of like
so
looks down
troubling.
for us. She looks down for a second, and she's like, I didn't mean to disturb your revelry, friend Dragonborn. My my home is not far from here to the southwest. Um, a day's ride. I don't get to go home as often as I would like. I take my duties to Tamora quite seriously, and working here, healing adventure, blessing those coming in and healing those coming out does keep me quite busy. If it's between my prayers and my duties, I barely have time for sleep or a meal, but I do always write home. I write home every week. And like clockwork, my mother and my grandfather always reply. They haven't in 2 weeks. It's not like them.
That does appear to be kind of problematic. Have you
Yeah,
heard any other news out of your town since then?
I haven't, sadly. I sent other letters once mother and grandfather stopped replying, just small things, to the mayor, captain of the guard. I wrote to them about you all's grand victory over those horrific Alithids. I've still received no response. I'm beginning to worry.
Kerrin kind of looks over to Aiden.
I can make some availability in my heavy drinking and adulation receiving schedule.
I
Rayonde? Helene? Do you
promise
agree?
you I promise you, Tamora would smile upon you if you did this, and I will give you the name of my family. They will feed you like kings, and you will sleep in the softest beds that you could ever possibly imagine. I'm sure there just must be some difficulty. Perhaps maybe a bridge is out that has not allowed the couriers to come to and fro, or perhaps there's some ink shortage or something.
But you
So
don't think that, or you wouldn't have called us.
Yeah, and here, and Helene will pull out like a little pad, and she'll pull a little pencil from her hair, and she'll hand it over, and she'll be like, "Just if you write the address down and the names of the people we're looking for, I'm pretty sure we can go check it out for you."
but by what
Her
power
hair.
would
It was
that
in her
writing
hair. She
utensil?
keeps it in there and half of a bank.
Is it
It's
like
full
a
of secrets too. That's why it's so big.
Is it like a bag of holding, but hair?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bag of herring.
Oh,
Sh- She takes the pencil and she still just sort of looks at it and looks at your hair for a second, and then she just writes down a couple of names, and she does give you the directions, and it is very simple. It is very much like ride east until you see the tree that looks like a frowning man, turn south until you see the three spired rocks, turn and it looks like it's probably about a day's ride, and she's directing you to the town of Crestholm.
we will try to determine what is going on with your family, and hopefully everything is fine, and we'll have just gotten to take a nice trip. Do you want
And be
us to
fed
bring
like
a
kings and sleep in really soft beds. I heard both of those parts very clearly.
Yeah, those were clearly stipulated.
Do you have another letter that you would like us to convey?
She, the twins speak Sylvan, correct?
Yes, they do.
She looks and she says to you in Sylvan. She pulls out another
Oh,
small piece
sorry,
of
it's not Sylvan, it's just Elvish, but
ah, what she says to you in Elvish. She pulls out a letter that is folded and stamped with a wax seal, and she says, "This is only if the unthinkable has happened," and hands it to you.
Karrin tucks it into their pack and nods to, did you say it was Alaria?
Alaria, yeah.
Yeah, to Alaria, and uh, places a hand on their holy symbol, and then places a hand on her holy symbol, and just kind of nods again.
You see, when you do that, her eyes get like a little misty. Like it's very clear that she's trying to choke back tears, and she's like, I'm sure it's just, perhaps they're busy with the harvest. You know, it's they sorry, they just things get busy. You know, they're here in Waterdeep. They think rural life is so boring, but it's anything but. There's always milking and farming and things to be done, and I'm sure they've just been meaning to write. And right when she says that, you hear, "Hey, hands off me blessed mace. Will you stop eyeballing me blessed longsword? Oh, yeah. And,
This is why professionals should do this job.
and
This is why.
she looks over at them and she's like, "Oh, well, looks like I'm going to have some fresh injuries to treat. I suppose if all is in accordance, you all should probably be back tomorrow night or the day after, and I look forward to your report."
No, we'll be in touch. Take care.
And she does just sort of like walk past you, and she's like, "Now, the blessings of Tamora, blessings of Tamora," as like a stein of ale like flies past her head, and she continues. They're like just rolling over tables, and you see Durnan just is like leaned over the bar, just kind of watching, and he's like, "It's not a bad right hook he's got there, but you know, he needs to learn to keep his other hand up. You see."
Yeah, but if you don't go for the hit, you'll never get the hit, and the combo there is just.
Also, good job, you lot. Thank you. And he very much goes back to watching the fight. Like a little ring has kind of formed over this, like a dwarf and a half elf, you know, or just rolling around on the floor. And for the moment, no eyes are on you if you all wish to make your exit.
I think, yeah.
Guys, I got the map right here. So I guess let's just grab our things and go check it out.
Sounds good.
Let's go.
Just a few days ago, we were looking into end of the world, and now here we are.
No,
I think this is a little better.
A very good change of pace, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
It feels
agree
nice
with
to
her.
have feels nice to have a job again, even if it's something that she thinks is small. It's nice to get out of Waterdeep for a little while.
As you all head out of town, hold on a second here. Do you let anyone on the ship know where you all are headed?
I can send a message to Captain if you like.
Yes, I would very much like not to get murdered by my captain. But also, can we do it on our way out of town so that we're out of range?
Yeah.
At that point, I think we might probably should wait until we get there with as fast as Nikto is.
The lady makes a point.
We can do it whenever.
Yep, let's go. And we will tell Nikto, just not, right away.
Yeah.
Our usual message, our usual method. Forgiveness, not permission.
Yep.
And it's worked out well so far.
Has it?
Yeah, has it?
You're alive, you're alive, you're alive,
Well.
and you're so like, if we're running the numbers, yes, I'm gonna say yes.
All of you give me perception checks.
I majorly rolled to disbelieve. I can't freaking believe my first roll today is freaking natural 1. What the heck?
It's
21 for me.
21?
19 from Aiden.
19. I will tell you, you don't have a perception modifier, Helene, so it's whatever the dice say.
Yep, then it's 16.
Okay. Also, I should say this out loud for season 2. For those of you that are joining us, we only really have one house rule when I'm DMing: is that a 20 always succeeds and a 1 always fails, even on skill checks.
That's why
So
I know things.
that is literally why you like this. It has been very useful to the narration and exposition.
And it's like the only time too. But
The
I will
fates
take it
decide.
rather than your persistent underestimating of my excellent understanding of lore across the
Hey,
world.
I said Aiden's been places. He knows people. Okay.
I was
Uh,
going to say that Kerrin is distracted by Aiden, and Karrin is distracted by the fact that Xander is not there, and that is why they rolled so poorly.
And while they are looking, you see them come around a corner, which all of you recognize just before they can stop. And they run face first into a large, shaggy, stinky beast. It is like a yak-like creature that turns and just runs its tongue up Karin's face. Just
Hey, you should look out. You're about to. Nah, they figured it out.
oh, he likes you. He doesn't like many people. And on the wagon, you all see the tiefling that gave you all a ride when you first arrived in Waterdeep, the tiefling whose cart you rode in to the yawning portal in the first place. And he sort of pushes his head back and he goes, well, you all are heroes now. Glad I was able to do my small part.
Yeah, you knew us when. How you been doing? How you been holding up?
What can I say? Another day in paradise. But I couldn't help but over here. Looks like you all might be in need of some transport.
Yeah, we have a map right here, where we're trying to go, and Helene will show him, and she'd be like, yeah, like a right up there to east, by the rock that forks or whatever. Here,
You hand him the map and he looks down at Karrin with the ooze up the side of their face there, like
Yeah,
always.
Kerrin has been like giggling behind their hand at Karrin this whole time, and Karrin is just like,
Karrin,
he leans
here,
well
take this scarf.
he leans down and he's like, "I don't be rude," and sort of slaps the shaggy beast on the hindquarters, and it leans over and does the same thing to Kerrin, just, blah, just like a paintbrush up their face.
I will
It gets in
treasure
your
this image.
nostrils. The whole, it's all of it. Yeah.
Oh, I will treasure it for decades.
I've got the one scarf, so I guess you two will have to share. But it's quite absorbent, at least.
Yeah.
that's what you get for laughing. Shut up.
He looks at the map and he's like, yeah, Crestholm isn't too far from here, although I don't know how well this old wagon can make the trip. I might be able to arrange horses for you if you like.
I appreciate that. We were just talking among ourselves. We didn't know where to find a good mount. Telior, right?
Yeah, you remembered.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again, Aiden.
Oh, you remember me too. I'm touched.
Well, you all have been the talk of the town, see? And if I'm being honest with you, I earned my fair share of pints by saying that I was the one that delivered you to the yawning portal to begin with. So I feel it's the least I could do to help you out in this transportational pickle you find yourselves in.
Much appreciated, and glad to hear that you have been rewarded in the only currency that truly matters, pints.
He pulls out sort of a curved stick and kind of reaches in the back of the van, and you see just sort of like pulls up essentially like a soggy cloth that you're not quite sure has a kind of ominous smell, but he sort of like pulls it closer to him behind the wagon, and he's like, hop on in, I'll give you a lift.
The twins
And
hand back the scarf to Rayonde, and it's gross.
it's chunky now. Yeah, it's chunky. Yeah.
Thank you.
He's like, that's of course unless you two wanted more kisses, because she's always got plenty more.
I think they're good on the kisses. We're all good on kisses, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and Helene will kind of step behind Rayonde as he says that, just in case they
Helene,
come in our
It,
direction.
no, it tries it, Helene. It tries it. Like you're out of the sort of.
You're not
Helene
accounting for my incredible martial arts blocking of this critter's tongue.
Yeah, but but you all hop in the back of the cart and he spurs it along. Again, now your reception in the streets of Waterdeep is vastly different than it was just a few short weeks ago. People did wave, hey, type thing. Every once in a while, somebody sort of holds up a sword from like off of a soldier that they killed there, and like, and he does bring you to a stable, and he hops off, heads in, and a few minutes later comes back with 4 very nice horses. You all think these horses honestly would probably cost you a couple of months' wages. Beautiful, colorful, strong things. He's like, all right, so you're just renting these, okay? When you come back, bring them back.
Bringing him back. Understood.
Gotcha.
That one. And just like a flash, Aiden is on top of.
What color's the horse that Aiden chooses?
It's a dappled dark gray and has black markings like a mask around the eyes.
And what color is the mount that Rayonde chooses?
Well, that's the problem. Is that there's one that's obviously red, but that's Helene's. So is there like, what are my other choices?
This is a big stable, so and
Wow.
you all of you at this point also all of you are soldiers. You realize that these are horses for the garrison.
Excuse you, I'm a sailor, not a soldier.
Well, if there are a couple of Palominos, the twins will take those.
Absolutely, yep.
I mean, if they're good enough for the twins, then sure, Palomino for me it is.
And do you take the reddish colored one, Helene?
Oh, of course. Right on the nose.
And it does have a when the light catches it just right, it really does have the same color hair that you do. Oh, its fur is matches your hair.
That's impressive. It's very
Matching
coincidental.
horse, nice.
We match. It's like we were separated at birth. What do you think?
And
Yeah.
Telior looks at it and he's like, yeah, just don't go jumping her off any cliffs, all right?
Shouldn't be a problem. What about wells?
Just leave the horse if you're gonna jump off any other things.
So no portals.
No portals.
I just want to be clear.
No portals.
I understand. He very much looks around a little bit and he's like, I even heard about that piece of work outside the walls a few days hence. Please don't take the horse through any portals.
Okay.
You all realize, except for Averin and Freely, you didn't see anyone else around. So if he's like, I heard, it's like, heard how?
I appreciate a man who arrives exactly when he's needed and knows more than he is supposed to know.
I mean, if we had a problem with magic spies, we wouldn't have lasted very long in the adventurer business.
I mean, certainly not with our captain.
Off in the distance, offended in Nikto.
But in an accent I had never heard before and will never hear again.
It's true. Yeah, no, it's like you're starting to think, Aiden, that maybe it's correlated by day of the week and emotion. It's like there's a grid system.
I have a chart. It is not working.
Yeah.
Kerrin and Karrin have definitely somehow accidentally run into this red string bulletin board a couple of times and nearly torn it apart by accident.
My corkboard. All right, let's get going, shall we? The village will not be catching itself.
he points out to you guys that it's sort of there's a side gate that the soldiers use that you could ride out that'll shave an hour or so off the ride, and bids you all good luck.
Toss him a healthy tip.
He looks at it and he goes, "Oh, it's just what I always wanted," and then tucks it into his coin purse.
Try always know the gifts to give a man.
And then, are you off on your way?
Yeah, let's ride.
The horses are magnificent. They're well trained and obedient. You know, that's just with the slightest nudge. You realize quickly that they're trained to maneuver with the legs, not the bridle, which you know combat horses are, because your hands have to be free to fight. So it's very easy to be like, "Hey, look, no hands," as you're riding along.
Aiden definitely stunts unnecessarily at every opportunity and some contrived opportunities.
Mhm.
Karen's definitely not watching. Not watching at all. Not even a little bit. I
Nope.
don't see anything. Do you see anything, Karrin?
I believe Karrin is definitely lost in thought.
Yeah, Karrin is thinking about the really beautiful black steed that would have been perfect for Xander at the stable.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It looked all intense. Like if it looked like a stallion could be like brooding, but deeply. That's what it was like. Uh, as you all again, as you ride out, the countryside around Waterdeep is beautiful, of course, and the rolling hills over time, you know, eventually give way to some intermittent forest. There's also many homes of villagers that live outside the walls. As big as it is, it doesn't fit everyone, and of course, not everybody wants to live inside. Especially some people that are still farmers, hunters, want to live a little closer to the earth. But all things being equal, it is a very beautiful section of Faerun. And as she described, as you all continue riding towards Alaria's home of Crestholm, all along the way, it does the forest does start to get a little thicker around you, but there's still a very well worn path out of here. Again, Waterdeep's been here for many years, so the paths are all well worn. Although the cobblestone and paving very much has given way to just a well trodden but wide dirt road where you all can kind of ride 2x2.
Wide enough to race?
It's always wide enough to race. Are we doing it? Is that what's happening? Are we racing?
Helene looks at Rayonde and goes, your favorite sparring buddy's not here, but and then she just kind of like moseys forward as fast as she can.
All right, I'm following. I'm following.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've fallen for that.
All right. So to simulate this horse race, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to let all of you roll animal handling with advantage. For the twins, if the twins are choosing to race, I will let you roll basically with advantage twice, essentially. And let's just see what the top roll is the person that wins the day.
I have no animal handling, so it's a 17 for me.
17. But you're
21
not
for Rayonde.
ineffective. You're not ineffective, Helene. You're basically like, hey, so I was just wondering if you were you know, hair blowing in the wind and you're like deep in the saddle. You're doing a great job. Yeah. What was that, Rayonde?
21.
But soon you see that red devil sneaking past.
I cast haste.
19 on Aiden.
Aiden, do you cast haste on the horse? Aiden, you're like, I got him. And then like Helene's horse just sort of like erupts in like a shower of dirt and twigs. And it's like,
It was
Crazy red wild curls just go by. That's all you see from both the horse and Helene. It's just red hair everywhere.
what for the twins?
22 for one of them and 14 for the other. So I'm going to say it was Kerrin who got the 22 and Karrin who got the 14.
You know, as you guys are like, oh, Helene, you just see Kerrin just coming past you, just total game face though, like past, past the two of you there. And hold on a second. Helene, as you are like running by, give me dexterity, but with advantage. Because the horse is hasted, but you're not quite.
Is that a save?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 19.
Helene, you're writing, like again, you've never experienced this on a hasted horse, and you realize this is not going to be the last time you do either. And it seems like the horse is into it too. Just as you guys are just chewing up scenery. And you see something explode out of the woods that was incredibly fast and come flying right at you, but you sort of let go of the reins and lean backwards, and it goes roaring past you. Like you kind of end up going under it with the horse going so fast. It probably was the size of a horse itself, and crashes back into the woods. The rest of you, she's just far enough ahead that you heard something that but you don't see it. You hear the crashing and the roaring, but don't lay eyes on the thing.
Is this owlbear country?
Every country's owlbear country.
Whatever
Is
it was,
there
it almost
The
took
time
your
for
head
a
off.
crossing back there or anything, guys?
Did Kerrin get kind of any kind of chance to get a look at it? Because they're right on Helene's tail. So
I will give you perception with disadvantage because
Okay.
you were if in a fair race you would have won it.
Yes,
But if
I
you-
would have. Thank you so much, Helene.
Hey, any race that wins a race
Something
to win.
unorthodox? I would never.
And then even with disadvantage, I rolled a 16 on the die plus 8 is gonna put me at the bonkers number that I cannot add up to right now because
24.
Yes, thank you,
Again, it was Karrin that was out front, right?
Kerrin.
Kerrin, you saw that it was gray and that it was large. Owl bears are covered in feathers. It wasn't that. It also clearly leaped high enough that it could have taken a rider out of a saddle, which is bigger than, say, I mean, a mountain lion or something like that could maybe, but not a bear. Like they kind of just like would have rushed the horse. So it all happened so quickly that you realize if Helene had been going any slower, it probably would have just taken her clean off the top of the horse. But you saw something.
Aiden reins up, and I'm gonna get off of the path and into the tree line in a sort of horse stealth.
And Kerrin is gonna kind of yell ahead, "Hey, slow down!"
Do you ease up, Helene?
Yeah, I'll slow down a little bit. I probably already slowed down a little bit as it is after being almost taken off the horse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Technically, the horse is still hasted, by the way. So it's like, like its trots are just a little faster. they're on the path, as
Yeah,
it's
the horse
looking
isn't
around.
fast forward, but we're all right.
Right. If you all presumably you're looking where it went into the forest, it is clear, like all of you give me perception as you're all looking at you. Perception or survival, if that's higher for you. I know some of you have spent some time in the woods.
That was a
23.
natural one for Helene. She's just very, very put off by almost dying by mysterious creature.
Helene, you're out here, winning horse races, living life, enjoying some country air, and like something's got to try and mess with your hair again. Like, why is it? What even is this? Why can you just have one day, like a day?
Great hair
Helene?
comes great responsibility.
Yeah. How many for Aiden?
23.
23. Anybody beat 23?
I got a 22.
22?
Same. 22.
Those of you looking there, as Helene is like very like irritated, trying to console her super horse over here. You all can tell something landed hard, basically crashed through some trees, and then the tracks stop. It's like it is like a cannonball hit over there, and then there's nothing. It's like it disappeared.
It seems improbable by sheer physics, but I do look up. Tracks go away. Where they go?
So it got a big old 1 on its stealth. So you're like, what is this? A few feet ahead, still parallel to the path where Helene is, you all see something that is very difficult to describe. It is not something that you've really laid eyes on before. It is almost like a hairless bear, but it's almost got a face like a spider. Like if a bear had no fur, but still had the 4 eyes on each side that a spider's got, and an open, spiky maw. Through the wonders of technology, I will actually send you all a picture of what it looks like, because we can do that, at least some of you. And some of you, it'll knock you out there. But yes, the best description is like some sort of hairless bear with a face like a spider. And it is sort of creeping along the ground. And you see it's very much looking towards Helene. And it kind of like brings its butt around like it's about to pounce again.
I'm going to cast Guiding Bolt.
Guiding bolt?
So Karrin, I think, is like, Kerrin is still trying to catch up to Helene. Karrin is the one who jumped down from their horse to help look for whatever it was. And the moment they lay eyes on it, yeah, they're gonna let that go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick Guiding Bolt here at first level, because why the heck not?
I believe that is an attack for you and not a save for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Come on. Let's see. Does a 15 hit?
It does not. However, you blast and the dirt under it explodes, and it kind of looks at you and just and comes exploding out of the trees. And now you see it, Helene, and it is barreling straight towards you. This time,
I would like to turn myself into the gaseous cloud. Helene would like to make herself a part before it gets her.
it pounces at you, Helene, and you and you see as it lands on the other side, and it turns around and is looking. And your horse rears up and kicks at it, like immediately kicks. But it just like sort of like jumps back. And when it jumps back, it looks at the horse and but it's still like.
I want to ride up and say hello while it is distracted by trying to locate the fart.
In what manner of hello is Aiden giving? Because that is open to interpretation for our roguey boy.
The stabby hello.
I was about to say a stabby hello or a word hello.
I mean, you're valid. You're valid.
Yeah.
This time, it is the blade that will do the talking.
I will say all of you give me animal handling with advantage. These are well-trained animals, but this is still a very frightening thing. We're gonna see. 16's enough.
8
And
for
that's a 19 on the die for my attack. So.
All right, Helene. What are you gonna call your horse, by the way?
Oh, Ginger.
Ginger, like super quick, throws 2 like fast, like kicks back at it type thing. And when it just sort of jukes and jives, Ginger's like, nah, boom, further down the path.
That's fair.
Yeah. Ginger's like, nah.
Posh, on the other hand, super chill.
And Rayonde, what was that for you? You muted. You were unmuted and then you muted before you started wording.
On the animal handling?
Yep.
Okay, 14 was my highest one.
It is, the horse is bucking, but it doesn't break completely. So if you attack, it's going to be disadvantage because it's sort of like, are you sure? Like, I don't know, dude. Like, IDK, bro. while you're on the back of the horse. In the twins.
So Karrin rolled a 12. Kerrin rolled a natural 20.
Kerrin, your horse, ice water. Like, this is what I was born for. Karrin, the horse is trying to break. So you will have disadvantage, and it is trying to use its movement to get away.
Okay.
It also is like, I'm not gonna do this. Give me initiative.
Brr, brr, brr.
That's a big 10 from Aiden.
So 13 from the twins.
8 from Helene.
7
I don't think it's
for
it's
Rayonde.
possible for you to have an 8, Helene. Your modifier is higher than that. Was it 8 on the die?
It was 4 on the die, and it says +4 in my square.
I don't think you were looking at your level 12 sheet, ma'am.
Damn.
No, I mean that makes sense. I have a bunch of stuff that would improve that. I have high dex, and I'm a +4 as well.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong sheet for you because I'm looking at a Helene sheet and it is not that. Here, let me send you this.
Oh wait, nope. I think INT is that also intelligence at the top, and then that's
You want to look for initiative. It's kind of over further to the right. It's right next to your armor class.
gotcha. Okay, that's 15 then.
All right. Okay. And all right, 15 for Helene.
It's a little different on mobile than it is on laptop.
Yeah, it is a whole different interface. And what was that for you, Rayonde?
Initiative wise, 7.
All right. All of you give me perception checks, by the way.
19 from Aiden.
Actually, I'm gonna.
17 from the twins.
You can keep these die rolls. Let me give you. So you can give me perception, or you can give me nature if you've got higher nature than perception, because I know some of you do, because you have a chance to know what this is.
I got a 23 for Rayonde.
Is that gonna be perception or nature?
Perception.
Crap
Okay.
rolls today. I got 12. Yeah, 12 for nature.
And the
All right.
17 for the twins.
Was that perception or nature?
Perception.
All right. And what was it for Aiden there? Sorry.
19.
All right. You all notice this thing is even when the horse kicked at it, is still just like sniffing around and looking for Helene. Like both times it has gone at her directly. And even when the horse was right there and it could have attacked the horse, it didn't. And when you're in your gaseous form, Helene, it runs right at you. And again, very ineffectively, it keeps going like it's
She
close.
shouts, "This thing is very persistent."
Like you feel like if you'd been there, it would have caught you in the quintessential bear hug, basically. But in your gaseous form, it's doing nothing. And now it is your turn, Helene.
I have not cast gaseous form on myself before. Am I able to still cast spells while I'm in that form?
I'm 99% sure you can. You can't do melee stuff, but you can do spell stuff. Hold on, let me just make sure.
I mean, anything she does is melee stuff.
That's true.
Ah.
Every little thing she does is melee.
Good night, everyone.
No, you're glad. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming in. You can't talk. Oh, you cannot attack or cast spells. No, you can't. It basically
Oh.
it is a highly defensive form. It's a highly mobile and highly defensive form.
You fart in
Uh,
their general direction.
Literally.
Yeah. So I basically just stand there and just kind of like move around in a circle to distract it, like if I can. Like I keep its eyes focused on me as a fart, so the others can like hit it.
Ah, yes, the
Uh,
toot toot beep beep maneuver.
Yep.
Since I will give you a nature check, Helene, since you can't actually do anything offensive, and as you're rotate, it is just like homed in on you.
Ooh, that was better. Okay, 15 plus 8 is that's 23.
You know, Helene, because you are very well read. You know this creature is something called a gray render. You've never seen one, but you've heard of it. They are nearly mindless. They are nearly unstoppable, but they pattern on one person that they love and protect at all costs.
So guys, I don't know if you've ever heard of these things. They're called gray renders, I think it is, but they're supposed to like protect and love one person. This is a very odd kind of love that we seem to have going on right now, but it seems very infatuated with me. But they're like mindless and like almost indestructible. They're very tough, very tanky.
Now that she says that out loud, you all can roll nature with advantage to see. Also, I legit rolled a d6 to see who it was going to imprint on, up to and including no one, and fate decided it was the red wizard.
That's a 19 nature for me.
19.
Same. Another
Same.
19.
Another 19.
This is, you know what? I was like knocking roll 20. Maybe just like reality's out of it. Like we got glitches in the matrix here today.
It's 2020. You know how it is.
It just nothing makes sense anymore. Apparently it's 1919. You all know, once it points out, once she points out that it's a gray render, again, you all got put through kind of extensive training when you were coming up through the ranks of the white sails. And you've heard of these creatures, and again, that basically is they're the reason why the white sails doesn't try and use them, because you would think that it would be useful even with it imprinted on one person. They're just incredibly reckless. Like they don't care. Like they will do whatever they think they need to do in the service of this one person, and it truly doesn't matter what else happens or who else gets hurt or what else gets destroyed. And they're also very quirky. They all have like very distinct personality traits.
Dang, I
Congratulations.
kind of love it.
Have you made a friend? Or is this creature protecting someone else?
I don't know.
I
I've
mean, it's
never-
not going to eat you or any of us, will it?
It'll do whatever she tells it to do. Probably.
Are you sure it'll listen to me? Are you sure it's not listening
It'll
to someone
probably
else?
listen to what it thinks it needs to do for you, which is a different thing. Those aren't the same.
It's when Aiden says that out loud, especially with the role you had, Helene, you think that that's true. It is not that it listens to you. It will act in your service.
Oh. So I guess I don't need to be a cloud anymore?
Guess
Maybe you
not.
should get some distance on it first.
We are her friends and won't hurt her.
Nice
When you
fart
say
cloud.
that, it like whips its head around and looks at you, Rayonde, like, "Rah!" And then back at the cloud. Like,
But I think that's good. That's good. I think we have an understanding.
Helene's gonna kind of fly up a little bit as the cloud, if she can, if I can kind of go up, and she will real quickly take herself out of gaseous form and hit fly on herself instead, so that she's like solid but still above the ground where it can't like jump and get at her.
I would say the trees are thick enough that you could maybe land on a branch or something, save yourself a spell slot
Yeah.
if you wanted.
Sweet. Yeah, that'd be great.
You
I'll do that.
you when you go over and land, it immediately goes over and starts trying to climb the tree, but it got a 1, so it's really bad at it. However, um it is like going to knock the tree down though. Like it's like
No, no, no. Sit, 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 sit. Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy? Who's your good boy?
and it just like headbutts the tree, like it like snuggles, but it the tree again's like
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
trying to position myself underneath Helene. Like I'm hovering, moving.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
I'll
is.
kind of I'll hang down by my hands and kind of like loose drop down into Rayonde's arms so that I can set up and walk over to it and see if it'll let me give it tummy zerberts.
When you drop into Rayonde's arms and he puts you down, right when you turn, like right, you get your feet, and you're sort of like, okay, let's just see about. It basically takes you off your feet, Helene, down on the ground, just like head nuzzling all into you. And this thing probably weighs 600 pounds. I mean,
thank
it's not. It's a lot. It is a lot.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I try to scratch behind its ear, see if I can do that thing where you immobilize the creature by you do the butt scratches.
When it's sort of like you do see it kind of like taps one of its legs, and then it like whips its head up and like looks at the rest of you like very menacingly, and then just like looks back down.
What is it with us and animals today?
Hey, you thought the yak thing was bad. You could be getting squished by this adorable spider eyes boy.
It does let you up, Helene, but it very much. If you've ever seen those videos of like baby elephants that want to play, and you're like, please stop, you're 800 pounds, please stop, like it's that. Like it very much is like putting its head like leaning against you and things, but you're like, your weight 6 times more than me. It's,
Mhm.
it's a lot.
But we
Mhm.
we have a new friend, guys.
When
You
she
have
says
a new
that,
friend.
yeah, it turns and looks at you all just with death in its rows of eyes, and then looks back at Helene.
Great friend you've made there. The twins kind of tuck themselves behind Aiden just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, was this creature sent to you? Did you summon it?
I have no idea.
You all, now that you sort of take a minute, I'm essentially going to say that you kind of take 10 on this. These things, they're monstrosities. They occur on occasion. And on its back, there's a row of like bumps that looks almost like rocky protrusions. Those are eggs. Every once in a while, they just fall off, like while it's doing what it does. And a new gray render is born and sort of makes its way through the world until it imprints on someone and or it just kills or is killed. They just randomly happen.
Look, when a tree egg and the laws of gravity love each other very much. But we gotta keep moving. Do you think your new buddy here is gonna run us down if we keep going?
I don't know. He's a spider guy. We'll name him Peter. Peter, if my friends and I go, you don't hurt them. They also my friends, good. These people, good.
Aiden, feeling no presence of dignity whatsoever, will sort of do a nuzzle on Helene, not unlike what it did. Like, hey, we both appreciate Helene in this house.
When you get close enough to touch her, like it definitely like squares up and like its chest comes out, but like when she sort of doesn't recoil, it just sort of like
I also think she's nice and has pretty hair.
And I lean into
Yeah.
Aiden's nuzzle and
See,
kind of
we're
and nuzzle Aiden.
buddies.
Aiden, it headbutts you in the chest like a sledgehammer. Like,
Ugh.
like you can see the teeth and claws on this thing. Like if it wanted to hurt you, it would. But it is just like wham. And then tries
Aiden,
to
are
like
you okay?
I wasn't using that sternum for anything. We're fine. We're fine.
a little bit further down the road, Helene, you can see the head of your horse just like peeking up over the horizon.
Oh, yeah, guys, I'm gonna go walk over there and get my horse and let's see how Peter reacts. And I'll kind of slowly make my way towards my horse and see what it does.
The moment you start walking, Peter starts walking. And when you start walking towards the horse starts throwing it in reverse. So you all are kind of walking down the path of the horse, walking backwards, you walking towards it with Peter behind you.
Oh, this is
Not
amazing.
maximally
I love
efficient, my
this.
friend.
yeah. 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 No, I rolled a animal handling myself, and the horse is like, I'm well trained, but can you see that thing? Nah, it just,
Hey,
Yep,
from
agreed,
me
horse.
and my sternum to you. I
Yep,
feel you, horse. I feel you.
yep. And unless you do anything to intervene, it pretty much will. You will continue on this path all the rest of the way to Crestholm. Of the-
The twins are just kind of keeping their distance. They're not messing with that. That is all Helene.
Yeah,
All
it
her.
is about the size of a large bear if you wanted to try and get on its back, Helene. You don't know how well you might be able to direct it, but it's possible.
I was wondering. I also didn't want to infiltrate with any eggs falling off or anything that sounded disturbing. But yeah, sure. If I can
I-
avoid that, I will. I will indeed try.
I will say you don't know enough about these creatures to know like how close this next batch of eggs is, but that's just how it works. That is this creature's natural lifespan. That every once in a while it's like here's a good place for one, and it just keeps going.
Don't jostle the back wavers.
Yeah. Mm. Friend, I'm gonna just if I can I pop up?
I will let you give me animal handling with advantage. Because this thing is incredibly wild, but it does love you. So we'll see if it gets it.
That was terrible both times. That was a 7.
You're like, hey, can I? And it just like nudges under your legs and throws you on its back, Helene, very much like facing the wrong way, kind of like, head towards its butt, like facing the wrong direction, and just bolts. And when it bolts, your horse bolts and like running down the path. And you all see Helene seeing you as this thing charges off in the other direction.
That definitely looks like what she intended.
Yeah, that all seems intentional.
I think the twins are going to try and round up Helene's horse because we did make a promise to get them all back. To
The horse is on the path. The horse is heading in the right direction ahead of you. It's just very much in the process of noping out in the direction of the town, basically.
As soon as we have the opportunity to round the horse back up, I think the twins are going to make that a priority.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Helene, is now that you're on this thing has just it's got strange gray flesh. It almost feels like it's almost like kind of like granite. It's like if there were like living rock. It is an odd thing. You've never really been, I mean, you've done battle with your fair share of creatures, but you've never been like this close to a monstrosity. It is very odd.
She's gonna try her best to kind of do one of those like fancy horse rider flips around to the other side so that she's facing the front and can get a better grip on him and just kind of like take that in and try and figure that out.
As you are, I mean, it is loping along. It feels its body movements are very similar to the way a bear runs. And you know, of its 8 eyes, the back 4 all rotate around and are looking at you while it's just like running down the path. Yep. As it's when you sort of wave at it in its eyes, it very much tries to like nuzzle you on its back, like while it's running. Like it even like for a moment like sort of like goes in a circle for a second and then kind of just continues running.
Well, that was adorable and terrifying.
Accurate description. Accurate description. And as you all make your way down this path, you do still see some of the things that she told you to keep an eye out for. Where Alaria was like, you know, you'll see this tree, you'll see these rocks, type thing, and you do come up on the outskirts of a town. Um, Important point of clarification. Do you attempt to take this thing all the way into town, or do you attempt to start like stop kind of when you detect the town?
I think Helene would try and stop close to the town, especially knowing that they're a little bitey. She probably wouldn't want to take a non-housebroken friend into somebody else's home.
Would you kind of like pull up on its neck a little bit to get it to stop? It promptly like busts off the path over into the woods and just bites into a tree about the size of your leg and just like uproots it like it's nothing and just like plops down and starts chewing on it. Just like
Well, that works. You stay here, buddy, and I'll give him another little ear scritch, and I'll see if there's like if there's some like good fancy trees somewhere in one of those shops to get you to bite on. Maybe we find some like some maple or some oak, some real nice.
this time while it's chewing, the 4 eyes on that side of the head just look at you with love, and the 4 of your companions, each of you get your own separate evil eye of like while it's still chewing
Wouldn't have it
on
any other way.
chewing on it. Yep. And you are able, Helene, after at least a minute or two to sort of like calm your horse down, recover her because she doesn't go far. She's again still very well trained. Yeah. Like,
Oh, and I suppose that I probably see the twins corralling Ginger back over to me, and I'll kind of grab her as she's going by, and I'd be like, "Thank you, guys. Yay, we'll get the deposit back now."
Yeah, thankfully she's smart.
She's smart enough to stay away from Peter.
It's a redhead thing.
she very much has her eyes on Peter the entire like even when you sort of like hop back in the saddle, the horse is still like
Smart horse.
Yep. Do you all proceed into town?
Yeah, let's make our way on in.
All of you give me perception checks.
19 for Aiden.
28.
28.
17.
It's just
One day I'll have a higher perception check than Aiden. One day.
Hey,
Also,
Hey,
17,
I've got a
17.
reliable talent.
Well, actually,
But
my
it is-
bad. It was 26, not 28.
it is not this day. As you all come in, it does look like a nice sleepy town. You think it probably is home to maybe as many as like 90 people. I mean, it's not insignificant in terms of the buildings and the towns and everything. There's no wall around it. It very much the path just sort of opens up out of the forest and you're just in it. So apparently they're not overly afraid of bandits or the like, although Waterdeep is close enough that they're sort of under the umbrella of Waterdeep. But this is definitely would be the edges of it. Like this would be the extreme suburbs. And even though everything appears to be intact, it is all very quiet. There's no external signs of any damage. The buildings are all fine, but there's no smoke coming out of any of the chimneys. There's no food that you smell cooking. There's no signs of a struggle, but there's also not any signs of any people. Although I will say, with a 28 Rayonde, as you all take in the fact that the town is kind of a ghost town, you do hear small whispering, Rayonde. At a 26, it's rhythmic. It's almost like chanting, but it's very low. You can't quite make out what it is.
I place my hand on my weapon and inch forward stealthily.
Hmm.
I try to make eye contact with Aiden before I start sneaking.
Mm-hmm. Everybody that is going to stealth can give me stealth. Presumably, you're going to dismount before you do this, Rayonde, or are we
Oh
horse
yeah,
stealth?
oh yeah. No, I don't know how
Natural.
sneaky this horse is. I can't
Natural
trust my
20.
fate with that.
Like Helene's there, and then she's just not. It's like a shower of red curls. She's like
26 for Aiden.
26.
14 for me.
Mm-hmm.
And an 18 for the twins.
Again, you all are professionals. So once you're kind of like, yeah, we're just on a ride through the country. We're not. Okay. Ice water in the veins. So, I will say you take the time to hitch the horses, somewhere safe so they won't just wander off and make your way in. You have a couple of places that you could look at. Again, is this the town seems sort of like long and skinny. Basically, it's like there's an indention in the woods essentially, and this one road sort of moves all the way through it. And you can see the normal things. You can see what was probably a city hall, a temple of some sort, a blacksmith, a baker, anything that you would expect to find in a regular town. And again, no signs of a struggle, but no signs of people, except for that strange whispering, which after
What time
yeah.
of day is it?
By noon it's late day. By now it's late day because she said it was about a day's ride. We'll say you guys were leaving early because the yawning portal's 24 hours. So it's this time of year it doesn't get dark till 8 o'clock or so. So you got a lot of sunlight, but it's late day. People should be making dinner though. They should be making dinner, and no one is.
All right, well, let's keep moving towards this whisper chanting stuff.
I'm gonna take a quick look into one of these houses, just see if there's anything untoward, and I twirl my little lockpick kit.
All right, well, we'll meet up with you over there.
You try and go in basically the first house you come to.
Yeah, I
It,
just want to see if there are like signs of a struggle, or if there is someone in there and they're hiding, or if there are ill-gotten gains that could be liberated toward a more noble purpose, or
Before Aiden slips off, Kerrin just reaches out and takes Aiden's hand really quick and casts guidance on them.
yeah. Thank you.
you, Aiden, as you approach that first house, you do realize it is some sort of constabulary's house. The house is warm and inviting. It's painted a pleasant yellow, nice, like pretty brown shutters. But there is kind of a placard of the local law here. So it's kind of like under different circumstances, you probably would have been greeted by some sort of person, but they weren't. Give me your sleight of hand to see if you can unlock the door.
22.
Like it's you're just like, no, talk to me, baby. Hang on, wait, no, there you go. Shh, 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 shh. Click, and opens right up quietly. In the moment that you open the door, you very much hear like, shh, 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 no, shh, shh, be quiet. No, you be quiet, both of you, just everybody, shh, 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 shh.
Hey, I was sent by someone from this town, whispering friends, a woman by the name of Ilaria, coming here for a wellness check.
Wait, is it really from Malaria? No, it's not from Malaria. You know this shit. Yeah, don't you be quiet. Just be quiet. Shh.
Ilaria writes letters to her family. Didn't get some responses for a couple weeks. Y'all probably know her. Tomorrow blessings upon you, kind of stuff.
Give me persuasion, Aiden,
Okay.
and why he is breaking into that building. What are the rest of you doing?
I think the twins are basically trying to get a sense, like a vibe, like a vibe check. I think as Rayonde points out the whispers, they're listening. Do they hear, like, the what language is the chanting in? Like, what does it sound like, something like a spell being cast or some sort of ritual? Like, they're getting real arcane with it, like trying to dig
Uh,
in to see if this is something that sounds familiar or is familiar.
As you're moving in and have it pointed out, you can give me an Arcana check.
Okay.
And in Rayonde, what is Rayonde doing?
It's just a
I
7.
think I'm just kind of in a sort of defensive stance and making sure that the twins can do their work.
Okay, kind of keep an eye. And Helene, who is currently a ghost, what what are you doing?
I'll do an Arcana check too, since that's kind of up
Okay,
Helene's alley.
sort of your
Yeah,
jam.
it was only a 7 from the twins, so the assist will be appreciated.
Okay,
Natural
Oh.
1. The dice giveth with the natural 20, and the dice taketh away so fast.
no, Helene, you basically are just in front of the twins and Rayonde, like. Eh, it, as you all are out there crinkling your brains back inside, what was that persuasion, Aiden?
That was a big 6 with a point of luck.
Whew.
You don't want to see what it was without the point of luck.
I mean, statistically speaking, there's only 5 other options. So
Yeah. Yeah, there are.
I just appreciate Aiden's like, maybe if I just kill you and take you back to Alaria, this will all be fine.
Look, there's something about me, and I think this is really it. He's trying as hard as he can to be nice, but there's a certain amount of darkness and menace to him that I think is just conveyed, the sort of just shroud of him. And I'm sure,
They
though this face be gorgeous, the dark around the eyes is maybe not the most wholesome looking thing when you're already afeared.
everybody
Too spooky.
everybody likes the spooky boys, right? They
Not
do not
today.
they do not answer again. However, you can give me another perception check now that you know someone's in here.
23.
You're like, in this constabulary, you realize there's down a hallway, there's probably a couple of cells.
All right. And they're not going anywhere. So I'm gonna make my way on in.
Mm-hmm. As you ease in, you know the floors creak very slightly, but I mean, again, you're used to doing this sort of thing. You can tell, like, there's sort of like a main room here that is kind of like an office. Down that hallway, there's a couple of cells, and you up the stairs, there's some bedrooms because somebody probably lives here, at least when they're on duty.
Yeah. So first, I think I shall visit my people, which is to say, I see if there are any criminals in the cells.
When you look in the cells, you see two people in two different cells, kind of huddled up. One of them is an elf. It seems like he's got kind of a scar down his face. And the other one is um, what looks like a human, but they have strange sort of like almost otherworldly aura around them. Like when you just look at them, you're like, oh, that's a person. But that's like, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that person. But it's a person, but they're in two different cells.
All
And you
right.
see the scarred elf is very much like head sort of down in the corner. And this other person is sort of like still pushed against the back wall, but kind of like with their knees tucked, like this.
All right. I confess I find myself a touch curious about this otherworldly personage. So I'm gonna get down that cell. Just get down on in a Slav squat, and so you ended up on the wrong side of him. Huh? Seems like a bad time for it. What's going on?
He'll hear you. He'll hear you.
I'm new in town. Who's he?
The master will hear you.
Oof. Don't have one of those. Just just explain like I'm someone who doesn't know why you are whispering inside of a jail cell in a town I've never been to. Just break it down for me like fractions.
The scarred elf sort of looks at you and is like, if you don't know who the master is, just get out of here. Just go. Go. Hey, he's not gonna want you. He's not gonna want you. Just go.
Hey, what? But excuse you. I'm an extremely desirable personage.
And the other one looks and he's like, actually, yeah, he really might. That's probably more of a reason to go. I think you don't. No, you don't want to be here. Wait, hey, actually, could you let us out? Let us out and we'll tell you whatever you want to know.
You'll tell me what I want to know, and I'll let you out.
Oh. You outside you all see Rayonde, you in particular, as Karrin and Kerrin are looking around, and Helene is very much doing the like I've got your nose thing in front of your face, like at the corner of your eye. You keep thinking you spot her, but you're like she's really been practicing. She's like, how does that much hair, like what the you, as you're sort of wheeling around though, Rayonde, you see a person walk from one house to the other. They just sort of like walk across the street. They don't look at you. They don't acknowledge you in any way. They just sort of walk across, dressed all in black.
I try to increase my speed, but stay hidden and pursue them.
Is you pick up a little bit, that chanting gets louder. Rayonde, I know that you are not a man of mysticism, but still give me an arcana check on the off chance that you recognize something.
Just an 11 for Rayonde there.
You don't know what they're chanting, but you do know it is not common.
I mean, it's never good. I'm getting a very cult vibe from this, so yeah, let's keep going. I mean,
Rayonde, you hear someone whispers in your ear. Blessings of the master upon you, friend. What brings you to our town?
I've already got a source for blessings. I'm good, actually. Yeah.
Mm.
Who is this master of which you speak?
Oh, he's just helping us here. We were Lost. We're not anymore. Are you lost, friend?
No, I know exactly where I am and where I need to be. Why don't you take me to this master?
Oh, I guess it would be rude of us not to invite you properly, right?
Very.
What are when Karrin, Kerrin, and Helene sort of see him like sort of double time a little bit? Also, this is
Yeah, we
just
don't hear him.
no,
No,
it's
we
like
don't
it
hear
is
his
like
voice.
something just whispering in Rayonde's ear. You might see him
So
sort of looking around.
he's talking to
Yeah.
himself again. Great, cool.
Yeah.
Rayonde, is everything okay? You're talking to yourself again.
Yeah, there's someone whispering in my ear. You should take all of us to see the master.
What do you mean by the master?
Apparently their leader is they're claiming to be helping the town.
Oh,
What is that thing I do? Am I supposed to put my fingers in the air like this when it's not really the yeah, it's one of
Yeah.
those.
I don't like the sound of this. Last time we all heard voices in our heads. Things took a real deep turn real quick.
how come they always choose you?
Me?
Yes?
I don't know, maybe I look trustworthy. Or maybe, they just assume that I'm the leader of this group since I'm so impressive.
Also, who wouldn't choose him? And Helene gives Rayonde a wink.
He turns visibly redder. Yes. Also, I will say, Rayonde, having experienced telepathy, this is something different. This is like something's talking to you, not in your head.
Yeah.
Aiden, inside, ooh, the odd one looks at you, and they start to glow with a warm golden glow. They're like, friend, you wouldn't leave us here to die. Just open the door and we'll be on our way. We'll help you if you wish. We'll not help you if you don't want that. But please open the door. And they got a natural 20, Aiden. So you're like, I mean, yeah, all right. Like no one should die in here like this.
Can I see if I roll a natural? I know I won't.
You
but can I
can.
try?
You might. You could.
Yeah, I'm saying there's a chance.
That's true.
Also,
1 in 20.
I do find myself lucky sometimes.
It's 5%. It's not insignificant odds.
But only sometimes, of course. So yeah, I'll jimmy that door open.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
no real
they
trouble.
they sort of come out and they're like, could I impress upon you to release my friend? When they ask that, doesn't seem quite as reasonable, but give me your, this is after you've let out the first one for sure, but give
Yeah.
me an insight check.
7. I am an astute reader of people.
You're like, I don't know, but that's probably all right. You're
Yeah.
less convinced, but you're like, I mean, again, you deserve to die with your boots on. This all.
I mean, yeah, no, fundamentally, this was really just about which side of the information exchange even happens. But this
Yep.
kind of seems on the levels, and I get to show off my lockpicking skills. So
When you open it, the elf kind of comes out very warily and looks around and is like, hey, what's your name, friend?
I'm Aiden. You?
I'm Astenor. This is Calliope.
Pleased to make your acquaintance. Got quite the glowing introduction from your friend.
The Calliope sort of smiles, and now that you're closer to them, you couldn't see in the dark and things, especially in this when they get this close to you. They're a very beautiful, almost supernaturally beautiful. And they look at you and they're like, Aiden, I can tell that you're a man of the sword. Are you a man of business as well?
I've been known to trifle here and there.
We may have run afoul of the people in this town. There was a misunderstanding, I assure you. In then they seem to have fallen in with something questionable. Have you ever heard about the cure being worse than the disease?
Two of my best friends are clerics, so I'm gonna go with yes.
Yes. We may have had some misunderstandings, but we're prepared to put that behind us and just go.
Look, between folk who have both been on that side of things, I point to the jail cell, just what exactly was going on here? Just
Meanwhile, go ahead, Aiden.
no. That was an ellipsis waiting to happen.
Meanwhile, Rayonde, you hear still this voice, like it sounds like somebody's talking to you, says, are you one of the heroes of Waterdeep? Word even reached us of a grand dragonborn and beautiful twin clerics. And with that natural 20, Helene, they have not clocked you yet. They're all like, we were told that you were accompanied by a red wizard, but we have no sign of them.
Yeah, that's us.
Well, while you all were defending Waterdeep against that oncoming horde, many of those brigands that you drove out of Skullport and drove out of Waterdeep came to our town. Can you imagine? And they insisted that we work for them and give them all of our money and give them all of our food. And we were quite helpless until the master came and rescued us.
This master, are they, what kind of being are they?
Kerrin hears in their ear, oh, how rude of us. My associate is talking to your dragonborn, but there's no one talking to you. Peace and well-met blessings of the master upon you, young cleric. And again, it's just like somebody's talking right there.
And the blessings of Coralon on you. Can we help you with anything?
Oh, maybe we can help you, unless if you're just passing through, that's fine, but we know you adventuring types like to get involved. So,
Well, what can you tell us about this master of yours? Who are you
oh,
talking to?
you've heard of the master. Wonderful, wonderful. Um, it's There's only the two of you. We'd heard in the stories that there were three others. There was a strong warrior, a fiery wizard, and a skulking rogue. Are they by chance about?
Oh, I'm sure they'll be along presently.
Mm, mm, mm. And when you say I'm sure they'll be along presently, the chanting stops from wherever it was coming from. It's allow us to show you what the master has done for us.
Of course.
And you see doors open on some of the houses just at random but they all open simultaneously. And at first, what you think is a rolled up carpet gets flung out, but it very quickly becomes apparent to you it is dead people who've been hung. They are bound hand and feet. And you guys spent a lot of time in Skullport. They look like brigands, leather armor, tattered, ripped. Like they look like ne'er-do-wells, but they are dead. The
Oh.
master protected us. The master continues to protect us.
Surely what they did didn't mean this had to happen.
Helene, you cannot hear any of this. You do sort of see your friends talking to someone and no one in particular, and then these basically attic doors open up and these bodies come flying out and hanging. What does Helene do?
She realizes that, like, when she hears her friends talking to themselves, that obviously she's hearing half of a conversation. So she's trying her best to piece together what's going on, but like isn't gonna speak up and ask because she doesn't want to break her stealth. She's still trying to kind of remain off in the cut, just in case something happens and she needs to like gank. So
Again, as far as you can tell, no one has spotted you, not even your friends, Helene. Again, those training sessions with Aiden are paying off, you know.
yeah, can't wait to tell them about it.
In the constabulary's office, Aiden, you do hear the telltale snap of hanging ropes that every real rogue knows.
Yep, the last mistake.
And you see the short drop and the sudden stop, right? And the although to be clear, what you all observe, these people were already dead. Like they're not hanging now; they're dead. And there you hear the crack of the ropes, and you see the elf visibly winces and sort of rubs his neck and looks around. And the other one, Calliope, just says, for whatever reason, they chose to keep the two of us and visit cruelty upon our associates. We know the life we chose. We know how the life we chose tends to end. But if given the opportunity to either escape or perhaps even the score, we would be interested in either.
I like the sound of that second one.
Hmm.
There any kind of interesting weapons in this here constabulary?
They took them all as offerings to the master.
All right, well then that's step one, isn't it?
Hmm. She sort of looks over at the elf and is like, are you ready, my friend? And he holds a hand out, and you see a knife appears floating in midair just over his palm. And he's like, always.
That's a
It,
neat trick.
and she looks at you like, hmm. And she says to you in Thieves' Cant, today I promise my blade will not find your back.
And I respond in Thieves' Cant, and who can make promises about tomorrow?
And gives you the warrior grip.
Yep. Hello,
Yeah.
fellow crime homie.
Yeah, exactly. Like I too enjoy crime. And outside, Karrin, Kerrin, Rayonde, you see this grim display. What do you all do?
So why don't you take us to see this master of yours? But before you do, I have one more question. It seems like he's been very kind to help you with your situation.
Oh,
But
yes.
what does he ask in return?
I will say, before I answer that question, there are 6 total dead, and I will say those of you that are outside can give me perception checks. Because once they kind of slow down and stop swinging, you can kind of like get a better look at them.
19.
19.
19.
19. You've successfully disbelieved. Yep, 19.
19 for me as well.
You again, like real talk, glitch in the matrix, man. Glitch in the matrix. Like It's Randonautica is breaking reality. You notice each one of them has a single hole pierced straight through the heart. You're not necessarily sure what weapon would do such a thing. I mean, could be something so simple as just a very accurate spear, perhaps. But
Could, could
they're.
I could the twins do a medicine check to kind of determine?
I'll give you medicine, but it is all. I mean, Rayonde, you're like it's the dead are meaningless. Their battle's over.
They are
Just
beyond my help.
It's above you now. Just a 10 for me.
You just can tell it is just a perfectly pierced hole. It is not ragged like a sword or a claw. It is like yes, Helene.
Helene has what's it called? The Tenebrous Avatar. It's the one little coil of inkiness that does damage. Does it look anything like that? Like when she does that?
Let me look at your spells real quick to see what you're referring to.
Is it innervation?
Two of them, since you know what you're looking for. Look, because innervation is essentially draining the life out of someone.
Mhm.
Two of them look like they've been subjected to something like that, but all of them have essentially this like perfectly circular hole straight through the heart.
And it doesn't look like it came from a tendril of inky darkness that pierced you.
No, it's perfect, like
Okay.
perfectly circular.
Hmm.
Aiden, give me stealth to come out of this place. If that is your
22.
goal, to come out and rejoin your friends.
Yeah, 22.
You see, as you sort of ease out, the two of them, they're pros, kind of come creeping forward also, and you see this display out here. And Rayonde, when you say, what does he ask in return? Oh, only that we feed him and care for him as he cares for us.
Wow, that's really creepy.
He has left the great beast to watch over us.
Yeah, I mean, we came here because there's someone in Waterdeep who's very worried about her parents. What would cause her parents to not write her back if everything was fine?
Oh, do you mean Alaria? Says she sent you to look for us?
Yeah.
Oh, my dear girl, I tell you what, if you all would go back and bring Alaria here, I'm sure the master would be very grateful.
She's really worried about you.
Oh, I assure you we're fine. Wait, look, gaze upon the master's beast and see. And you all hear
Guys, I
and
don't know what that is, but that's not good.
from in between the buildings up ahead, about 100 feet away or so, you all see a very different kind of monstrosity walk out into the road that cuts through town, which again, through the wonder of technology, I will send you a picture of. It stands almost 8 feet tall, and it is clearly dead. It is a gross and distended skeleton with oversized hands that go out into very sharp, wicked points, the type of points you believe could punch a hole in a man, like you're observing there. And around its waist and neck, it wears what were once probably the tatters of a black robe that just sort of like swirl now, like inky, clingy blackness. You can all give me an arcana or a religion check to see if you know what this is.
Thanks, I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Arcana or history, you said?
Arcana
Sorry,
or
religion. I
religion.
apologize.
15
Calliope.
for Rayonde.
Calliope leans over in your ear, Rayonde, and she just says, "By the gods, my boys deserved better than this."
It's a 23 from me.
17 Arcana for me.
23, 17. Are you gonna roll for Aiden? Our boy tends to know things.
I mean, that's 18. I rolled a 16 on the dot. Thank you.
23. The twins know this creature is called a bone claw, which is essentially a failed lich. It's essentially when the lich ritual goes wrong, you can end up like this. You are muted there.
That's not good. Uh-oh. So definitely, it could be worse. It could be an actual lich, except it's just a bungled version of one.
Bungle Lich doesn't sound any better.
No, it's definitely not.
The
Well,
doors
maybe the master is a regular lich.
Oh,
You're not
no.
helping.
the doors of all of the houses and things begin to open, and you see villagers standing there, and they all look happy. They do not look like when the mind flayers had mentally dominated things and that all like blankness. They're not like that. They do look happy. But you can also tell they all look haggard. They look very tired. Like if they haven't really been sleeping and haven't really been eating, but they are like smiling there, like, yeah. And at the far end of the town, near this beast, you see a small pot-bellied gnome. He's elderly, even by gnomish standards, with a long gray beard. And he turns and points at you, Karrin, and you hear that voice that you've been hearing, and you're like, "Isn't it a wondrous beast? He protected us against these brigands." And another woman comes out that looks a lot like Alaria. You know, could be her mother, could be her sister. And she just says, like, "Yes, we prayed to the gods to be delivered, and we were delivered." And all the people are like, "Yeah, woo!" Again, not a creepy unison thing, but they all, "Oh yeah, all right, yeah, woo, we won, yeah, boo, brigands, yeah, boo."
Did these brigands receive any kind of trial before you killed them?
No, I mean, they came during the Battle of Waterdeep, which again, thank you for the defense of the people, but they tried to take over this town and make it their own. And when he says that, Astenor leans over to you, Aiden, and he's like, "Well, it is a nice town. Look, it's just like a day's ride from Waterdeep. Wouldn't you want to hang your hat here?"
Okay, but you kill the golden goose. You know how villagers get. You gotta be nice to the people, and then the people be nice to you, and you don't have to do the violence on them. Charm. Calliope gets it.
Well, she's like, "Well, yes, we didn't think they were so unhappy until this rampaging monster came into the town one night,
Jeez.
killed all of them, and imprisoned us."
Did it come from down under?
She sort of looks at you for a second and she says, "If the stories are true, then you know what manner of things sleep in the earth. But I had never laid eyes on such an abomination as that."
Yeah, I was kind of hoping not to either. But here we are. Yeah.
You hear the woman's voice gets 3 times louder. like her voice thunders through the plaza, like easy for even you to hear, Aiden, at the far end of town, essentially. And she says, "Praise be to the Master in his infinite wisdom. Now, friends and travelers, do you wish to join us, or do you, of course, wish to depart? Except," and you see she tilts and looks past you guys, which for the first time, you realize that maybe Aiden's back there, even though you thought you were super hidden, Aiden. Because those ones, unfortunately, will need to stay.
Yeah, that's not
I
going to work for us.
yeah, I think underneath their breath, Karrin is going to send a message to Helene because they haven't seen Helene, which means Helene is probably still hidden. They are going to send a message to Helene under their breath, and it's going to be a short one. It's just going to be like, "Find the gray render and get back here with him."
Am I able to respond back with that?
Yeah, you can. That is essentially it's whispering in each other's ear from a distance.
Yeah, Helene just says 2 words, "on it," and she heads back as stealthily as she can.
Okay. You start moving back out again. Again, if anyone has seen you, they've given no indication, Helene. And the woman, the old man is like, "Oh dear, no, the master wanted those ones in particular. And also, you there, you tall, skinny one, the brigand with," and he literally pulls out like a little telescoping glass and looks, and he's like, "Ah, another one of the heroes." And when he says that, you see the bone claw just like picks up a finger and points at Aiden and goes, "Ah."
About that vengeance. Y'all still here for it?
They just sort of like look at you and they say, she leans over and says, "Well, I said my sword would not find your back today. I didn't say it wouldn't find theirs."
All right,
And
good.
that is actually a good place for us to stop, because our good friends at Critical Role will be coming on shortly, and we want to make sure that we are out of the way. So thank you all for this. Again, this is gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Again,
Fine.
I'm sure this
And
thing is nice, and the master's nice,
everything's nice.
and just gonna like
Nice.
just want to be friends and tea and crumpets,
Friends.
right?
Yeah,
And then
Necromancy
necromancy is never problematic.
We're in danger.
well, real quick, tell us where you are and where everybody can find you. And we'll go the opposite way this time and start with melee damage.
Hi, I'm Mayleigh Damage. You can find me on all the socials at Mayleigh Damage, MAYLEIGH Damage. I do lots of
Hey,
things.
hey, and same to live.
Hi, I'm Sam Leve. You can find me on Twitter at Tchaikovsky, ChaiKovsky. You can also catch all of the role playing and personal streaming that I do on Twitch. My schedule is on twitch.tv/Delevely, DELEVELY.
Alcuin Gersh.
Hey, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter as Different Elves. It's different_elves, or some of the other shows that are on Q Times or other channels.
And last but absolutely not least, the twins of the hour, Aki.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aki. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mixed Genie in a Bottle. That's MXGINIINABOTTLE. And I also do lots of things all over the internet. So the best place to figure out where that happens is to follow me on my socials.
And the reason why I'm incapable of saying Aki is there is a Caribbean dish that I eat all the time that is called Aki. That is a type of fruit, and that's just where my brain goes. B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. You can find me or 7 days a week. I'm doing something find me on Twitter. That's the easiest way. By the time you're watching this, I'm doing a thing tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, that this version of me was NDA'd on, but that version of me is probably talking all over the place by now. Also, you can catch May and I on Founders and Legends Friday the 18th, which I will tell you again about next week. We'll be doing D&D, celebrating Gary Gygax's birthday. And look at that precision. We'll be done early and on time. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.